Hi, my name is Thor and I am a school leader at Foundation School here at the University of the Nations in Kona. Our school is called Foundation School because it wants to create a foundation in children's lives and also in the families. And our school is also a DTS for the children. And because of that, we get to see a lot of things a lot of testimonies that comes out both written or also just through the actions that we see. And having done this for 18 years now, there's quite a few of them. But for me, when a testimony is to be shared, it has to point to Jesus, because if it doesn't, it makes no difference. It's just a testimony for the testimony's sake, and that's not something that I feel is right. So I could have shared about my wife who was paralyzed on her left side for 12 years, and then one day God just said, now you're going to put away the crutches, you're going to walk. And that evening we ran 3 miles together, and it was like amazing. Or our son, who was playing soccer in college and had his ACL torn, and then from one day to the next, from one MRI on one day to the next day, the doctor said, I don't understand this, because he had a total new ACL and he bent it in all directions. It was just perfect. So, or I could share about a 4-year-old who was prophetically speaking into the life of an elderly woman and changed her life totally, just because that 4-year-old heard God's voice and spoke into her life. But sometimes the smaller testimonies can also be the greater ones. And at one time here in our school, we struggled a little bit with the Korean and the American speaking, which was mixed in our school. We didn't have, like today, we have a Korean foundation school and we have an American speaking foundation school. At that time, we only had it mixed together. And there was a tension, because sometimes the Koreans would speak Korean and the Americans would speak American. And if they didn't understand the language, of course, they thought they're speaking about me. And the cultures are also quite different. So because of that, it kind of added to the problems that we experienced. And it's not just the kids, also the parents had some of those same tension. And one day we met in the prayer room and we had like a morning time of worship. And before we started, we had one of the older girls from Korea and one of the American boys come up on stage there and pray for that, the time we had together as families. And this Korean girl started talking, and all the heads of the Koreans, they were nodding, and what she was praying, they really, it was something that moved them. And then the American boy went up and he started praying, and exactly the same prayer, word by word, exactly the same came out of his mouth in American. He didn't know a word of Korean. He didn't know what she talked about, but still, he just spoke out right the same message. And the jaws just dropped on every one of the Koreans who knew both languages. It was amazing to see. But it was a way of unifying that group, because that was the message they were talking about, how unification was the important part. So Jesus used that, the 2 children, to speak into the lives of the families, and it changed the whole atmosphere in our school and here on campus as well.